So the clearest stat is that every single economist, conservative or not, says Democrats are better for the economy. You can even ask Grok and gives you the same answer.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Really appreciate you being here today. So in this video, we're watching a heated bar debate where Luke Beasley and Zena go head to head with Michael Knowles on who's actually better for the economy, Democrats or Republicans. Luke comes in with a century of economic data. Michael tries to rewrite history with every excuse in the book, and the tariff question becomes the moment where everything falls apart. This gets intense. Make sure you stick around because the way this argument unfolds is absolutely wild, especially when the numbers start backing up one side and the other side just keeps dodging. And hey, drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from right now. I love seeing where everyone's tuning in from across the world. All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
Is that my Instagram feed calls it propaganda when other women promote being mothers.
That's because Instagram needs you to be upset and stay on the platform, so it shows you random nobodies who don't really represent the mainstream liberal view to get you upset, so you'll keep using their app.
Now, hold on, Luke. I'm glad that you're moderate and relatively reasonable as far as libs go. But I think this is ignoring pretty widespread left-wing demonstrations that say shout your abortion. Okay. Planned Parenthood goes out, says you can have as many abortions as you want or need. These are mainstream groups.
Articulate. If you actually look at people in positions of authority, obviously we have a very different stance on abortion, but about uplifting families and enhancing the child tax credit, Democrats stand for that, Republicans want to cut those programs. Pro-family, that's us.
Trump did just expand the child tax credit, but we'll get to that in some later topic. Okay, so who do you think won the first round? Now you can, I guess I don't even know what the questions really were about. Would you say, do we get the blue for the libs, red for, is it tie? Is it a tie? I'm seeing more red if I'm being real. But that was a very reasonable answer by liberal standards. That was very good. Okay, who do we think the VIP questioner was? Who gets to go to the VIP table and drink delicious Redneck Riviera bourbon? The mom gets it. The mom is going to drink 9 months worth of bourbon tonight, baby. Here we go. All right. Now, you know what I find pairs very well with motherhood and bourbon? Delicious Good Ranchers meat. While our VIP gets her seat before an actual brawl breaks out between Luke and Zena, maybe. I don't know, Luke is kind of like a conservative here. Before that happens, everyone should sit down right now. Everyone should agree what makes any fight night better, that is delicious steak. Not just any steak, Good Ranchers steak, 100% American raised, delivered right to your door. Now, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, nobody is turning down a sizzling, perfectly grilled, juicy, delicious steak. That is why, when I fire up the grill, I actually have my wife do the grilling. That's kind of feminist of me. I know that I am serving 100% American raised meat, top quality. I get it delivered right to my door. Let me bring the audience into this. Give me a shout if you've ever tried disgusting grocery store meat and instantly regretted it. Yeah, you see that? That's bipartisan disappointment. Good Ranchers fixes that. They're flexible with delivery, just like our unpredictable debates. Order, pause, delay, cancel anytime. Even if you lose tonight, you win at dinner. Listen up. If you go to goodranchers.com, use code Knowles, you get $40 off your first box, $30 off your second, $30 off your third. And, my friends, this is where you can cheer. Free meat for life when you subscribe. Whether you're debating voter ID or foreign policy, make sure the steak on your table is as good as your arguments. Head over to goodranchers.com. Use code Knowles, Knowles. Are we ready for round two? Okay, now we're going to read our topics. I have to urge my guests here. We'll try to stick to the topic, not some of the other. We'll try to stick to whichever one gets picked. Ladies first.
All right, claim 2 is that toxic masculinity is ruining young men.
All right.
That was a cheer from the most toxic man in this bar. Luke?
All right, my claim 2 is Republicans are much worse for the economy than Democrats. Everyone cheer real loud for that. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. My claim is that we should ban porn. Yeah, there we go. Wow, all right.
I don't care.
I don't know.
guys.
Do we have? There were cheers for the economy one. Is there? What do we got?
There was cheers across the board. What did it sound like up there? Because back here, I'm getting like
Economy
two
was
people
really
yelling
loud.
into it.
Mine
I
was
heard-
really loud.
Wait, you guys remember
I've never been to a bar where the cheers are
toxic
economy.
masculinity?
Economy.
Toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity.
Okay, so we're doing economy.
Because it's near Thanksgiving and Luke.
The algorithm manipulation argument that Luke Beasley just laid out is something people need to understand, because this is how misinformation spreads. When he said Instagram needs you to be upset and stay on the platform so it shows you random nobodies who don't really represent the mainstream liberal view to get you upset, he's explaining the entire business model of outrage content. Social media platforms profit from anger. They show you the most extreme 1% of any group because that keeps you scrolling, keeps you engaged, keeps you monetized for them. And here's what happens next. Michael Knowles immediately pivots to Planned Parenthood and shout your abortion rallies. But notice what he's doing. He's taking fringe demonstrations and painting them as mainstream liberal policy. That's the exact tactic Luke just called out. The vast majority of people who support reproductive rights aren't celebrating terminations. They're defending bodily autonomy and healthcare access. There's a massive difference. Then Luke flips it completely. He brings up the child tax credit. About uplifting families and enhancing the child tax credit, Democrats stand for that. Republicans want to cut those programs. And that's the part that gets ignored in these culture war debates. One side wants to expand financial support for families. The other side votes against it repeatedly. If you genuinely care about supporting mothers and families, you'd support policies that actually help them raise children. Not just rhetoric, not just moral posturing, actual material support.
Said he would come to my Thanksgiving dinner. I will put my
Not
aside
you.
for a
Right,
moment.
family.
We can talk about the economy. Luke, what's your argument?
All right, let's go. So, I'm sure a bunch of people in this bar don't know this. I think everyone's worldview, our politics should be structured on just a rational approach to public policy. The most important issue in all of our lives is the economy. And almost all Americans, or probably a majority, misunderstand the records between Republicans and Democrats on the economy over the last century, Michael. And I'd like to hear you respond to this in a second. The last century, the economy has fared way better on GDP growth, unemployment, job growth, etc. All of the metrics you can find. The last century under Democrats compared to Republicans, even when you control for
Under
who was
Democrat presidents, you mean?
no, even when you control for what about who was in the House, who was in the Senate, time and time again, Democratic administrations and better under unified Democratic government,
So always Democrats in the White House.
Democrats in the White House.
Yeah, okay.
The economy performs better over and over again. Recessions are way more likely to happen under Republicans. We're seeing this right now with Trump. A bunch of people voted for him to help their economic situation, and then he came in and implemented these insane and irrational tariffs on everyone in the world and penguins, and is driving prices up and doesn't understand how tariffs work. Doesn't
Tariffs
even know
were deflationary according to the San
tariffs
Francisco
don't even
Fed
know.
last
He
week,
doesn't
but
even
that's
know
okay.
who pays
That's
the
not
tariffs.
true.
So the clearest stat is that every single economist, conservative or not, says Democrats are better for the economy. You can even ask Grok and gives you the same answer. So I
Grok
would like
says
to ask
so,
you,
okay.
because it is, well, it's Elon's, because even, exactly, and Elon's AI now says like he has a sexy body or something, so it's pretty skewed. But I'd be curious to know, because Trump's landmark economic approach has been tariffs, and I know a lot of commentators who defend him have flip-flopped on it's just negotiating. It's not. It's not. You agree that he's completely lying when he says China pays the tariffs, right?
No, I think that the tariffs have worked out relatively well because everyone predicted that the tariffs would be inflationary. The San Francisco Fed just came out and said they were actually deflationary.
Wait,
we
wait.
see that
Michael,
real
who's
wages
You
are
paying
said,
the
up.
tariff?
you said you were going to stay on the topic. I asked.
You just asked me a question. You can't do
Hey,
that.
yeah.
You asked me a direct question. I
but then you
responded
gave an
to
answer
it.
to a different question. I asked you a specific question.
That was a total fake out.
So
that was
who-
a total
who's
trick.
paying the
Okay,
tariff?
You have
well,
to answer my question if I ask a question, Michael.
Oh, that was, man, how'd you do that to me? He could have asked me a question about porn. So I'll answer the top
you watch porn?
Because it's very, this is one of those examples of lies, damn lies, and statistics.
All right, you're not going to answer it. I don't care.
Wait, hold on. Wait, do you want me to
so-
answer that
and
question or do
then-
you want me to answer your broader question?
Well, you're just going to say a bunch of
You just
mumbo
keep cutting
jumbo.
me off whenever I answer what you
Yeah,
ask.
you're about to say random stuff. Okay, go. Sorry.
What- oh, okay, do you want me to answer the broader question or the specific
No,
question you
specific
asked
question.
about tariffs?
That Trump keeps lying, saying other countries pay the.
This is where the entire economic argument gets blown wide open. Luke Beasley comes in with a century of data. Almost all Americans, or probably a majority, misunderstand the records between Republicans and Democrats on the economy. Over the last century, the economy has fared way better on GDP growth, unemployment, job growth, all of the metrics you can find under Democrats compared to Republicans. A century, not one administration, not a fluke, 100 years of measurable outcomes. And then he asked the question that Michael Knowles absolutely cannot answer honestly. Who pays the tariffs? So the clearest stat is that every single economist, conservative or not, says Democrats are better for the economy. This isn't a partisan talking point. This is economists across the spectrum agreeing on observable reality. And when Luke asks, you agree that he's completely lying when he says China pays the tariffs, right? Michael dodges. He talks about the San Francisco Fed. He talks about deflation. He does everything except answer the direct question. Because the answer is simple. American consumers pay tariffs. Not China, not foreign governments. You pay them at the register when prices go up. And when Michael finally responds with, this is one of those examples of lies, damn lies, and statistics, that tells you everything. When you can't dispute the data, you attack the concept of data itself. That's not a rebuttal. That's surrender disguised as skepticism.
Tariff.
About
Not importers.
The way that tariff, look, I am an importer because I have a great cigar brand called Mayflower Cigars, and the cigars are made in Latin America. And so anyway, so I know the tariff issue all too well, and right now they're mostly being absorbed by the companies. They're not really being passed on to the consumers, and so this is why the tariffs, the San Francisco Fed just pointed out the tariffs were deflationary.
Well, you didn't answer. But
is not
we have
true.
seen prices, we saw a huge softening of price increases. Then Trump comes back in, reversed the trend. Food prices are back sharply increasing. To my next giving point.
Inflation's not bad at all. Inflation's around 3%. Real wage growth is around 4 or 5%.
Because it was coming down.
Inflation?
It was coming down.
Inflation was 9% under Biden.
It was coming down
what are we talking
under
about?
That's
Biden.
COVID.
Wait, coming
So-
down under
so
Biden.
hold on,
And then, that's what Biden handed to Trump, and then Trump reversed the trend, and now it's going back up because of his policy.
No,
In Biden's case, it was because of the pandemic that Trump mishandled. Trump caused a bunch
Hold
of
on,
inflationary things
I have to clarify
happen.
something.
It's
Are you
true.
asking me about Trump's handling of the economy or about your claim that in general the economy does better under Democrats or Republicans?
Oh, no, I made that point, and then I was giving you a different point about how Trump keeps lying. It's an economic point.
So
What you
hold on,
laughing about? Economic
are we
point.
going to debate the topic that
Michael,
I graciously let you do, or are we going to debate
actually,
some
I
other
would love
point?
to hear you. Are you going to deny that for the last century?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone Google right now.
Okay, so you don't have to Google. I'm a human being. I can actually just give you the facts myself. So
Lies.
So your point is that under Democrat administrations,
Yeah.
the economy grows more, the GDP is higher. And so this is one example of
Job
lies,
growth.
damn lies, and statistics.
Wage increases.
Wait.
Unemployment. You just said
Does
just
he have
GDP.
Tourette's or something? Are we going to answer the question or not? Hold on, I'll try.
Okay, all right. You just
Would you like me to answer or no? Are you afraid of my answer?
keep going.
You're afraid of my answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep going.
So this is true, but you would grant certainly that macroeconomic events also play a role in the economy,
course,
right?
of course.
Okay. So the way that you arrive at those numbers, because GDP growth is a little bit higher under Democrat administrations than Republicans if you go back to, say, World War II or back through the 20th century. The reason for this is that you have a Democrat administration coming out of World War II. So this is a massive global event that leaves the United States as
Even
one
if
of
you
the two
exclude that.
main players. Will you be quiet
Even if you
while I
exclude
answer
that.
your question?
Why are you being so dishonest? Even if you exclude that. Even if you just look at the last few presidents.
He's interrupting because he doesn't want the facts.
You're just
So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted.
Mumbo jumbo.
After World War II, you had a Democrat administration, so it inherits this massive growth in the economy because the United States is one of two superpowers left in the world. That starts to flip the numbers. Then you have, say, under the presidency of Ronald Reagan, you inherit in 1981 a massive, massive recession. Now, Reagan was able to turn that around on GDP growth, on unemployment numbers, on inflation. He turns it around. It gives us the Reagan boom, sets up the next 25 years. Bill Clinton comes into office.
Here's where Luke Beasley makes the economic handoff argument that completely destroys the conservative narrative. We saw a huge softening of price increases. Then the new administration comes back in, reverses the trend, food prices are back sharply increasing. The economy was recovering. Inflation was coming down. Job growth was steady. And then new leadership reverses course with tariff policy and prices spike again. The previous administration handed this to the new one and then reversed the trend, and now it's going back up because of his policy. That's not opinion, that's timeline. You can track grocery prices month by month and see exactly when the reversal happened. But Michael Knowles wants to talk about World War II. He wants to talk about Reagan in 1981. He's doing everything possible to avoid discussing the present economic reality that people are living through right now. And when Luke calls him out, why are you being so dishonest? Even if you exclude that, even if you just look at the last few presidents, Michael keeps interrupting. He keeps deflecting. Because if you actually compare recent administrations on job creation, wage growth, deficit reduction, and GDP, the pattern holds. It's not ancient history. It's the last 20 years. Here's what people need to understand about economic policy. It's not about loyalty to a party. It's about outcomes. If one approach consistently produces better results for working families, for employment, for economic stability, then that's what you support. The data isn't biased. The data just is. And when someone responds to a century of economic evidence with lies, damn lies, and statistics, they're admitting they have no real counterargument. They're just hoping you won't check the numbers yourself. But you should, because your financial future depends on understanding which policies actually work. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.